A rain-soaked little girl approaches a police officer and whispers, "Please, follow me home." He senses something's wrong and obeys. What he finds inside her house isn't just shocking, it's heartbreaking. Behind that small voice was a truth so powerful, even the toughest officers couldn't hold back their tears. Officer Daniels had been on patrol for hours, cruising through the quiet neighborhoods of Maplewood. It was a sleepy town, where not much ever happened. The rain tapped steadily against the windshield, and his partner was halfway through a donut when they spotted her, a little girl, no older than 7, standing alone on the sidewalk in a soaked pink raincoat. Her eyes were fixed on the patrol car. Daniels rolled down the window. "Hey, sweetheart, are you lost?" She shook her head and took a hesitant step forward. Her voice was soft but steady. "Can you follow me home?" Daniels looked at her small face, pale, wet, and serious. Not scared, not confused, just determined. "Where do you live?" he asked. She pointed down the street toward a row of dimly lit houses. "There, but it's not me. It's my mom. She's not waking up." Those words made Daniel straighten up. He and his partner exchanged a quick glance, then jumped out of the car, the mood shifting instantly. "What's your name?" he asked as they walked. "Ava," she said. "How long has your mom been asleep?" "I don't know. She was on the couch. I made her tea. I tried shaking her, but she didn't move." The officer's heart thudded. Ava's small hand led them to a narrow, older home tucked behind an overgrown hedge. No lights were on. The porch light flickered. The door was slightly ajar. Inside, the air was heavy, quiet, except for the ticking of a wall clock. On the couch lay a woman in her 30s, motionless. A teacup rested on the floor, spilled. Her skin was pale, her lips bluish. Daniels rushed over, checked for a pulse. Nothing. His partner called for an ambulance. Ava stood near the doorway, her tiny arms wrapped around herself, eyes wide. "She didn't even finish her tea," she said softly. Daniels swallowed hard. "Ava, when did she drink this?" "She last night. I thought she was just tired, but she didn't move this morning or today, so I walked and found you." "You've been alone since yesterday?" he asked. She nodded. The sound of sirens grew closer, and in that moment, it became clear this was more than just a tragedy. There was something deeper, something left unsaid in Ava's eyes. Something no child should ever have to carry. Paramedics rushed in and confirmed what Officer Daniels already feared. Ava's mother was gone, likely in her sleep. Natural causes, they said quietly, but too soon for a woman her age. As the body was gently moved, Ava stood motionless, staring not at her mother, but at the corner of the room. Daniels noticed. "You okay, sweetheart?" he asked softly. She didn't respond, just kept staring. The paramedic turned to Daniels. There's no sign of a struggle, but her vitals show long-term fatigue and malnutrition. She probably hadn't eaten right in weeks. Daniels frowned. Something wasn't adding up. Later, as they waited for Child Protective Services to arrive, Daniels sat with Ava in the kitchen. He noticed everything in the house was unusually neat. The dishes were washed, toys were tucked away. The fridge, however, was nearly empty. Only 2 eggs, a half stick of butter, and an open jar of peanut butter. That's when Ava spoke. "I tried my best," she whispered. Daniels looked at her. "Your best?" "I made her tea when she said her head hurt. I found the little pills in her drawer and gave her one, just like she always did for me when I was sick. I even cleaned everything." He leaned in gently. "Ava, how long has it just been you and your mom?" She hesitated. "Since winter." "Anyone else come by? Family? Friends?" She shook her head. She said no one would understand, that people would take me away if they knew. Knew what? She was sick, always tired, always sad. Some days she cried all day, some days she didn't talk. I tried to be extra good so she'd feel better. He realized Ava hadn't just lost her mom. She'd been acting like the adult in this house for months. Then she said something that hit Daniels like a punch to the chest. She left a letter. It's under the pillow on the couch. He got up slowly, walked back to the living room, and reached under the worn cushion. A crumpled, tear-stained piece of paper. To whoever finds this, I'm sorry. I tried to hold on for her. Please don't let them blame her. She's just a child. She did everything right. She's my hero. Daniel stood frozen, the letter trembling in his hands. The world had failed this little girl once. He wouldn't let it happen again.
By the time Child Protective Services arrived, Ava had fallen asleep in Officer Daniels' arms. She had refused food until he sat beside her and shared a peanut butter sandwich. Even then, she offered him the bigger half. "She's special," Daniels murmured to the CPS worker, "and she's been through too much." CPS nodded, but their tone was procedural. "She'll be placed with emergency foster care for now." Daniels clenched his jaw. "Can't you let her stay with someone she knows?" "She doesn't know anyone. No listed relatives, no legal guardianship plan, no godparents on file." Daniels watched Ava sleeping, her little hand curled around his badge like it gave her safety. Something inside him broke. The next morning, Daniels wasn't in uniform. He stood before a court-appointed judge holding that same letter in one hand and a printed photo of Ava smiling beside her mother in the other. "I know the system has rules," he said, "but rules didn't protect this little girl. She kept her mother alive for months. She cooked, cleaned, called for help, and even comforted me when I cried reading that letter." The judge raised an eyebrow. "Are you saying you want custody?" Daniels nodded. "Temporary, long-term if you'll consider it. I've already filed the paperwork." Behind him, Ava sat quietly with a court-appointed guardian, her eyes wide but calm. She hadn't asked questions. She just kept holding the corner of the officer's jacket whenever he was near, like it was her anchor in a drifting world. The judge read the letter, then exhaled slowly. "This is highly unusual, but not impossible," Daniels replied. "And she needs someone now, someone who's not a stranger, someone who was there." After a long pause, the judge turned to Ava. "Do you feel safe with Officer Daniels?" Ava didn't speak. She simply walked across the courtroom and took his hand, then looked at the judge and nodded. The silence in the room said more than words could. In the days that followed, Ava moved into Daniel's home. She had her own room for the first time, her own toothbrush, new pajamas, warm food. At first she was quiet, but she began to smile again. And when Daniels tucked her in one night, she whispered, "Mom would have liked you." He blinked back tears. "I hope I can make her proud." She said, "You already did." Months passed. Summer turned into fall, and the quiet little girl who once wandered the streets in a rain-soaked coat now laughed freely in the yard of Officer Daniels' home. Her steps were lighter, her eyes brighter, and though the ache of loss remained, it no longer defined her. Ava still kept a framed photo of her mother beside her bed, along with that tear-stained letter, but there was something new next to it. A small, hand-drawn picture of her, Officer Daniels, and a yellow sun above them. She had written in careful letters, "My safe place." Daniels never spoke much about what he had done, how he dropped everything to fight for a girl he had only known for a few hours. But when his fellow officers asked why, he had a simple answer. "She called me, and I answered." Because sometimes true heroism doesn't come from chasing criminals or carrying weapons. It comes from listening, from showing up, from being the one person who says, "You're not alone anymore." Ava's story made its way through town, then across the country. Not because it was dramatic, but because it was true. A story of a little girl who carried the weight of the world on her small shoulders, and a man who didn't let her carry it alone anymore. And that's the truth that left everyone in tears. That behind quiet cries for help are brave children hiding enormous pain. And if we pause to listen, to really listen, We might just change a life, not with grand gestures, but with compassion, with presence, with love. Moral: sometimes the smallest voices carry the heaviest burdens, but a single act of kindness, listening, showing up, saying, "You matter," can rewrite someone's entire future. Be the person who follows when a child says, "Come with me." You might not just save them, they might save you too.